Okay, we'll
Yes, sir.
continue. Yeah, we'll continue now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so these are the promises what they are given. 50% less expensive compared to the other data warehouse system. Regarding about business intelligence, it is a hot cake in the market. The many companies are looking for data analysis. Okay, so they based upon the data, the whatever the data they have. So after analyzing, they should come up with some solutions either for the problem, or they should come up with a new innovative idea for the businesses. Okay, next is the same way operational analytics on the business events. This will support our Redshift, also support for machine learning. Okay, if something let us say something is going wrong during the operational in the operational sections in the companies. Okay, so it keep on giving the notification, you do like this, you do take that decisions. Okay, so that that options is also provided here, but but we need to configure this. Whatever the data you have in the Redshift, using that we need to configure, then only we can come up with some innovative ideas in the company. Okay, so we'll discuss all these things later, you will understand. Even if I explain for half an hour also, it's waste of time, I guess. Okay, so next, most important, let's try to discuss about the architecture. This is very important, participants. I hope everyone are listening. Okay, this is the architecture of our Redshift. Okay, so as far as architecture is concerned, this will support, there are two layers here. Please concentrate here. There are two layers. One layer is called client application, from where we are feeding the data and from where we are fetching the data. Okay, that is one layer, first layer. Next layer is called our data warehouse cluster. This is called this box is called the cluster. Okay, box is called the cluster. So as far as cluster is concerned, further this cluster will contain two types of node. Okay, two types of node. One is called master node, another is called slave node, which is also called leader node or compute node. As far as this entire cluster is concerned, you can have only one leader node. Okay, one leader node, and we can have up to 32 compute node or up to 32 slave nodes. Hope you are clear, participants.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is very important part, leader node and compute node. Okay, so you can have only one leader node. We can have up to 32 in Redshift. We can have up to 32 the compute node, but minimum we should have at least two nodes. Okay, so the cluster will be like this. There will be one leader node, compute node 1, compute node 2. Okay, minimum in minimum architecture. Okay, in maximum architecture there will be one leader node. Okay, there will be 32 maximum compute node. Okay, so like this. Now let's talk about, let's dive deep into this, because once you are clear with this, then it is very easy to explain clusters or Redshift. Where it is, let me check here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I hope you can see the screen. You can see the screen now, participants. Yes, yeah. Now have a look on this cluster. I will not take that upper layer, that is the application layer. Now have a look on the cluster. Okay, as I told you, there will be a master node and slave node. Okay, so leader node or compute node. Okay, so here what happens, as far as master node is concerned, all the nodes are master node is concerned, there will be name. Okay, under master node, under leader node, there will be master node. So under leader node there will be master node and job tracker. Okay, he is like a traffic police actually. Okay, what the traffic police does. Okay, so based upon the condition, he will open the road, and he will ask the cars to, the drivers to move forward, right? In same way, like this only. Okay, so his job is just like a traffic police in the cluster. Okay, There will be master node and job tracker, and the master node is the person who will take all the decision inside the cluster. Okay, in the same way, these are the slaves. Okay, in slaves are nothing but the cars, you can say. Okay, so under the slaves, again there is this is categorized. This is divided in three parts. One is called task tracker, one is called data node, which is a main part of this cluster or the entire system where actual data are stored. Now next, this data further divided into two parts. One is called mapper and another is called a reducer. Okay, in the same way, you can have the same layer for the rest of the slaves node, or you say compute n nodes. Okay, now let's try to discuss about the process, how exactly this transactions takes place here. Suppose, let us say, as a client, imagine, you hope you can see this, participants.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hope you can see my PPT. As a client, imagine you are feeding the data either by JDBC or by ODBC. Okay, so you are feeding the data, imagine like that. Now what happens the moment when you feed the data? I hope now you can see the screen. Anaga. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let us imagine that you are feeding the data. Now what happens, that feeded data will be taken care, accepted by whom? Master node. Okay, this data will be accepted by master node. Now next, based upon the capacity of the data, type of data, what happened? Whatever the data is received by the master node, again that will be given to whom? Job tracker. Okay, so the job tracker, that data again it will accepted by the job tracker, and the job tracker will check what type of data it is, whether it is a structured format, unstructured format, mixed format. Okay, all those things it will decide. Now especially the capacity, how much amount of data it contains. Okay, the capacity of the data. Now next, but it keeps on accepting the data from the master node. But before that, what happened? Okay, this master node will have the the stack of the complete status of your slave nodes. Let us say in your system there are two slave nodes, compute node or compute node also you can say. Now what happens? Okay, this job tracker will have the complete status of this your slave node. That means through the task tracker. Okay, so what happens? It will keep on sending the heartbeat message. Task tracker will keep on sending the heartbeat message to job tracker. Okay, so the job tracker, task tracker. So what happened? Through that heartbeat message, it will come to know, job tracker will come to know how much amount of data present in this slave node. Okay, and how much amount of the space is available. Hope you are understanding. Okay, so now task tracker is a person inside the slave node who will take care of all your data processing. Okay, all the management of the data inside the slave node. Let us say task tracker, I have given 1 GB of data for this. Okay, this slave node. Now what happened? The task tracker will give that to data node. So the data node, again what he will do, it will try to convert that one in terms of mapper and reducer, and it will try to store that data in terms of blocks. Okay, in terms of blocks here. Suppose let us say 1 GB of data. So what I will do, that data will come to here data node, and next I will create 5 blocks. 5 blocks means how many? How much amount of data I can distribute? Participants, how many blocks we required? 1 GB of data. Okay, I have given to data node. So the data node will divide that complete 1 GB of data to 5, 200 each. Hope you are understanding.
Yes,
Point. That is one strategy generally we play. Next, what happens? In the same way, let us say you are getting 100 GB of data here. Now don't get confused, 100 GB inside the slave node, I said. Okay, this is the other part. Now again, let us imagine that I'm getting 200 GB of data here. Okay, master node is accepting. Okay, 200 GB of data master node is accepting from the client. So that data will be given to who? Job tracker. Okay, so job tracker will keep on getting the heartbeat message. Okay, slave node, all these slave nodes will send Okay, the heartbeat message in every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds it gets. If the job tracker is not getting the heartbeat message from the slave node, it will consider that the slave node is in inactive position. Okay, hope you are clear. Now next,
Yes,
what
sir.
happens? Job tracker is receiving 200 GB of data from master node. Okay, so now the job tracker will have complete status of this all these four slave node. Okay, so now what he will do, instead of feeding the complete 200 GB of data to one slave node, he will distribute it. Okay, he will distribute, let us say 200 GB of data, 50 GB I will give it to this slave node, 50 GB to this, 50 GB to this, 50 GB to this, equally distributed. No,
Yes, sir.
okay, that is normal. While explaining we say like that, but in general what happens in practical scenario, what happens, let us say this slave node is having only 30 GB of capacity empty. Okay, it's free, fine.
Yes, sir.
Imagine 30 GB is available here, 60 GB is available here, okay, 80 GB is available here. Next, okay, some let us say 50 GB is available here. So what happened? It tried to distribute based upon the capacity of the slave nodes. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Suppose let us say in this 30 GB is there, 30 GB I will store in this slave node. Let us say 40 GB is here, 40 GB I will save in this node. Okay, so next, in the same way, rest of the whatever the capacity contains here, same thing we are going to store in the respective nodes here. Okay, so next let us imagine that in Redshift what happened, this is the advantage. Out of 200 GB, let us imagine I was able to store only 180 GB of data. Now how much is remaining? How much data is remaining now? Hello? Participant, please be reflexive. 180 GB I have stored in this all these slave nodes. Okay, how much GB is remaining now out of 200 GB?
20.
20 GB is remaining, right? So
Yes.
I cannot refuse that data. No, I cannot give back to master node, right? What we need to do? What is the solution now? Participants.
Distributing 5 GB
No,
per.
see, all the slave nodes are full now. Imagine all the slave nodes are full.
It's reducing in the two types.
Now, imagine all the slave nodes are full now. Okay, so now still 20 GB of data is remaining. So in that case, Redshift, what it will does, it will try to create one more slave node. Hope you are understanding. Now,
Yes,
after
sir.
creating one more slave node, there will be how many slaves node here?
5.
5 slave node. Rest of the data will be stored where? In the
Fifth node.
fifth
Fifth
node.
slave node.
Understood. In the same way, let us imagine that now in other part data is getting decreases. Data is reducing the rest of the slave nodes. Imagine. Okay, so now I have found that 10 GB of space is available in this slave node. It keeps on sending the heartbeat message to job tracker. In the same way, let us say 5 GB is remaining here, 5 GB is remaining here. So what happens? Already whatever the data what I have stored in the fifth slave node, that will get deleted. But okay, whatever the data what I have stored in the fifth slave node, all that data will be migrated to previous nodes, previous slave nodes. Let us say 10 GB is remaining here. 10 GB I will migrate to this slave nodes. 5 GB I will migrate to this. 5 GB I will migrate to this. That means that the fifth node is empty, right? It's
Yes,
free
sir.
now, right? So in that case, what happened? That node will get deleted. Hope you are understanding. Okay, and that node will get deleted by whom? Job tracker. Hope you are understanding. This concept is called auto scaling. Okay, so whenever you have a huge amount of data, okay, one node will get added up. Okay, when you are having less amount of data, again that whatever the node what we have created, that will get deleted. So this is how we are utilizing the space, okay, in a at maximum level. Same concept here also in Redshift we are performing. Okay, and not only in Redshift, Even same concept we can use even in our EC2 engine, that I will demonstrate, okay, in later on stages. Now same here, have a look on this. Hope you are clear with this architecture. Data warehouse system architecture, application, leader node, next master node, compute node. There will be maximum, you can have maximum up to 32 nodes here inside this data warehouse cluster. Let's dive into hands-on session now. Okay, hands-on session. I'll just explain you how to configure your Redshift system, Redshift data warehouse system. Now you know, you are familiar with this console. Okay, so here under under database system you have data warehouse system, Redshift. Click on Redshift. Click on Redshift. Hold on, it's taking time. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's taking. Oh, hold on. Yes, so this is the main console. It will take you to this console, okay, where we can configure our the clusters. Okay, Amazon Redshift, faster, simple, cost effective data warehouse that can extend queries to your data lake. So that is called data lake actually. Clusters called data lake. Okay, so next procedure, obviously to create the clusters. But before creating the clusters, let's have a look on the left corner here. Okay, so this is a dashboard. This is nothing but the dashboard. Next cluster we have. So as far as clusters are concerned, there are three options here: clusters, reserved nodes, clusters, reserved nodes, and snapshots. Okay, so cluster, the moment when you create the cluster, that cluster name will be appear here. The complete status we can see. Reserved nodes, if some reserved nodes will be there. Okay, you can reserve some of the nodes, okay, that by creating the image or snapshots. So that can be that status we can see here. Okay, next most important, after creating the clusters, queries. Okay, so we can create the table, we can insert the data, we can migrate the data from S3 to our Redshift, we can program it. Okay, all those stuffs, query, we can perform all the query options here. Even we can load here. Next comes the editor, there the platform where we can write the program. I'll discuss about this. Next, configuration. In configuration, what happened, let us say I want to fetch the data from S3. Okay, so to fetch the data from S3, okay, I have to set certain kind of rules here. Okay, so rules like S3 Redshift rules. Okay, so getting the data, feeding the data. Okay, so all those configuration we can do using this option. Workload management, nothing but as I told you, when the number of the data is increasing, how to manage the load. And thanks to Amazon, all those things will be taken care by whom? The Amazon system. Okay, so we need not to worry about that loading of management of the data as well as the load balancing. We'll come to this, all these things later on, one by one. Alarm is there, events are there, what is new, configuration. Okay, so all those options, but we can perform all this option only after creating the cluster. Okay, so before that it is not possible. Next is let's try to create the clusters. Okay, so let's try to create the cluster. Click on cluster. Remember, creating the cluster means, remember, so I'm going to design. Can you see the screen, participants?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
PPT you can see now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so remember, I'm going to create this area, cluster, data warehouse cluster. Okay, as far as data warehouse cluster is concerned, I should be able to create leader node, compute node. Okay, so compute node we need to create here. Okay, this is my task, today's task. Okay, so here, cluster identifier first, as I told you, give cluster identifier, nothing but the name here. Okay, it should be in between 1 to 23 characters. So let's have test redshift test or demo. Let me check demo redshift cluster. Okay, redshift cluster for the demonstration purpose. Here there are many options here regarding about the CPUs. Okay, that we need to discuss here. Most important, because it is going to charge heavily for us. Okay, when the amount of data is drastically increasing, because it is not only about the space, even we required the CPUs also. Okay, so here most recently the latest one what we have, the highly performance computing engine what is provided by Redshift is RA3. Okay, and RA3 starts from, see, look at here, please listen here, interns. RA3 whose beginning, it starts from, okay, 4x large. Okay, so it comes with 4x large CPU engines, and the capacity we can upload up to 64 terabyte of data. Shall I repeat? You want me to repeat this? Okay, 4x large, we can store up to 64 terabyte of data. Okay, such a huge amount it is, and they are charging only 3.706 per hour. Okay, per hour, and it is going to have 0.026 per GB per month. Okay, it is very nominal compared to other data warehouse systems. Okay, but we don't want those things. Okay, we are under test, but when you are working in a company, okay, so you feel like this is very nominal price. Okay, as far as the processing of our data is concerned, because we are just paying 3.706 per month per hour per node, but we can grab many things from that node once you are able to process that data. Next, in the same way, there is 64 extra large. You can see here, RA 3.16x large. Charges are more here. Okay, charges are more because CPU engines are going to get, you are going to get more CPU engines here. Okay, next we have high performance with fixed local SD DC2. One second, hold on a second, students, participants, hold on. Yes, is this audible? Yeah. So next we have high performance with fixed local, fixed local SD storage. Hold on a second, please. Yeah. So next we have high performance with fixed local SSD. So DC2, this is the nominal one. Okay, DC2 large, very nominal. The configuration, it's very nominal here. Okay, and it is going to charge us around 0.315 per hour. Okay, so this is the initial configuration. Lesser than that we don't have. One second. Okay, so DC2 dot large, okay, is 0.315 per hour, and the capacity it gives 160 GB. 160 GB of data means it's very huge, no? Huge, no? Participants, 160 GB of data we can yeah, upload, but for us it's huge, but in the company it's very less actually. Okay, they consider 160 GB of data is like just a few MB for them. Okay, so next is DC2 8.x large, 2.6 terabyte of data, and they are going to charge 6.10 per hour. Let me choose this. Just I'm going to just for the demonstration purpose, I'm going to use this DC2 large. Okay, 0.315 per hour, and CPU obviously CPU 2 generation. CPU we are going to get both in both the engines here. Here also 2 CPU 3rd generation engine we are going to get here. Now next is let's dive into this. SD large workload with the fixed local HSD system. Okay, DC2 engine only I will take. Okay, which comes with 2 terabyte of data. Okay, which is fixed here. Okay, so since I have chosen this, yeah, 1 second. Legacy systems 1.19. This let me choose this. Okay, that is those are for old systems. Suppose if you are using old system, we can migrate to this. Okay, so let me choose this. Next, as I told you, how many nodes participants? Maximum how many nodes we can have? Master nodes.
32.
32 we can have, no? Yes, 32 we can have, but here minimum it should be
2.
2. Can you see? Enter the number of nodes that you need. I can enter any amount of node here, but make sure that the range should be in between 1 to 32. Okay, but minimum it should be 2 nodes here. 2 nodes and 2 node maximum. You can have 32 nodes. Let's say we can have 8. We can have, okay. Let me try to have only 2 nodes for the time being. Configuration summary. This is a summary. Okay, next is database name. Okay, by default the database name of the in Redshift will be div, DEV. Okay, so we can change the database name here. So let me I'll try to keep it is an optional. You can change the database name here. So I'll keep just a div. Okay, or else you can type any database name you want. Okay, so demo test, you can put that one. Just to avoid the confusion, I'll keep as a div only, and this is the port number. Okay, 5439. So this is very important. In interview they can ask this. So next is master username. The configurations are simple here. AWS user they have given. So let me try to give as admin. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on, because I'm getting a lot of calls today. Hold on. Hello.
Yes, sir.
1 second. Okay, so now here database name is div. You audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Master name is, let us say master username is admin. Let me give the same here. Admin 123 12345. Okay, 12345. Let me see the password. 12345. Okay, so next is clusters permission. So you can set here if you want any cluster permission, available IAM rules. If you have any available IAM rules, you can set here, or you can enter the ERN here. ERN. So whatever the ERN you can set here. So let me try to add one rule here. We'll see. We need to add here. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Hold on, guys. One second. Yeah. So next is IAM rules. So your customer needs permission access to access services on behalf of you. Okay. So for required permission, add IAM rules with the principal Redshift Amazon. Okay. You can associate up to 10 IAM rules with this cluster. So let me try to add this Redshift.Amazon AWS. I'm trying this. Hold on. Let me click on this. रिजवान भाई आपका पेपर मैं फॉरवर्ड किया हूँ ईमेल में, प्लीज चेक कीजिए रिजवान भाई। रिजवान भाई आपका मैं पेपर फॉरवर्ड किया हूँ, प्लीज आप ईमेल में चेक कीजिए रिजवान भाई। होल्ड ऑन। Okay, so it's not showing actually. Let me go to IAM user. So we need to create that rules here. Okay, then only we can access it. Hello. Hello. Okay, go to IAM user. It's taking a lot of time. Hold on. Yeah. Go to IAM user. Participants.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so here go to rules. So you know this, how to create the rules. The only thing is here for Redshift, we need to create one rules here. We should create one rules called redshift.aws amazon.aws. So here create rule. Let me check whether that is available. Here under go to Redshift. Redshift, yeah, Redshift. So under Redshift, see there are three options. Can you see this, participants? Okay, so under Redshift, there are three options here. Redshift customizable, Redshift scheduler. So choose Redshift customizable. Okay, so allows Redshift clusters to call AWS services on your behalf. So that means I want to write the query inside the clusters. No, okay, so that to do that one, we will be choosing this to customizable. Okay, so next to permission, click on permission. Click on permission. So here, check for Amazon. What is that? Amazon, Redshift, Amazon, AWS. So let me type here Redshift, Redshift, Redshift DMS3. Okay, role. Yeah, Redshift Amazon.
S3 role.
Sorry, S3 role. Okay, let me add this also because if I want to feed the data from the S3, that even I want that role also. So next is Redshift read only access. This one I want Amazon Redshift query editor. Okay, so to write the queries, Redshift services linked. Let me have this also, Redshift read only access. Okay, so I have chosen these many things. Road for Redshift data source v3. Okay, so far I have chosen these three. That means I can access the data from S3. Full Redshift access I have given. Editor query editing also I have given. Read only access also I have given. That means suppose if I want to read from S3 or any EC2 engines, so we can use those rules. Tag I'll leave as it is. I don't want that tag. So next, write the name of the rules here. Okay, Redshift, Redshift, Redshift. Okay, let us say Redshift cluster. So all this I have created. Now next is create rules. You can see a redshift.amazon.com. Okay, so entity is created now. It's taking time. Now you can see Redshift cluster rule already got created. Let me refresh this. Okay, so now I hope now you can see here. Hold on. Yeah, can you see the participants? Participants?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that role is created and I'm going to deploy that role in this cluster. Hello? Hello? One second. Yeah, Redshift done. So next is go to additional configuration, networking better. Okay, so under networking VPC comes. So it's better to keep the VPC same. Okay, so don't modify here. If the company is having its own VPC, if they have created their own VPC, then you can select that one. But otherwise, better you keep this default VPC engine here. Now, regarding about the backup, it takes backup also. Okay, so automated snapshots are created about every 8 hours or following every 5 GB per node of the data changes, whichever must come first. So here after every 8 hours it takes the snapshot is nothing but it taking the backup. If something went wrong in cluster, hold on, if something went wrong in cluster, then that will be that whatever the snapshots are there, that will be deployed. Even in the case of, let us say here also 5 GB per node. Okay, so if it is exceeding 5 GB, then the snapshot will be taken. Maintenance, okay, we need not to worry about the maintenance. Security, default cluster VPC itself will take the security. It will take care of the security. So next is create cluster. Create cluster, the parameter master user password must contain at least one uppercase letter. So that means we have done some mistake while creating the password. Okay, so let me have, let us say my password be capital letter A, capital letter E, admin at the rate 12345. Let me see the password. So you have to remember this, participant admin at the rate 12345. Okay, so again I will check create cluster. No, it should, the parameter master password is not valid password, only printable ASCII characters are required. Okay, so let me remove this admin 12345. I will keep. I hope cluster will get created. Yes, can you see participants? Yeah, one cluster called demos. Okay, demo Redshift cluster got created, and the total capacity, as I mentioned, 32 GB participants. Okay, so the total cluster capacity is 32 GB. Under this cluster, I have two nodes. Okay, two nodes are available. So let me hold on a second. Okay, it's creating now. It is in the creating state. It will take a little time.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I am created cluster in RA 3.4 X large, 2 nodes, 128 GB.
200 and
Sorry, 2 nodes, 128 GB. You created DC2 large, 2 nodes, 320 GB.
fine.
But I am RA3,
Yeah.
4X large, 2 nodes, 128 GB.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. One second. Hello. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. Tell me. Hello. Is this audible?
Sir,
Yeah. Tell me.
sir, ಇದು ಓಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ.
Yeah. ಹೇಳಿ. DC large, DC2 large. ನಾನೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, okay, what I have done, two nodes I have created. That means there will be one master, two will be slaves, three nodes. Total
Sir.
capacity is 32 GB here.
Yes,
What
sir.
about in your case?
Sir, I am RA3, 4X large, 2 nodes, 128 GB.
That because that is 4x, no?
Yes, sir.
4x large. RA3 you have taken. So that means it is very costlier
Yes, sir.
because it is the latest versions. Okay, what they have offering around. But this DC2 large is there, right? This is the
Yes, sir.
older version actually. Okay,
Okay.
older
Okay,
version, and the charges are also very less. So
Yes, sir.
here, okay, that's the reason I'm getting 32 GB, 320 GB. Older version, that is the reason I'm getting 320 GB. Since it is a new one, okay, the processing speed performance will be very high. Okay, in that RA3, that's the reason you are getting a small amount of the space. Understood?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Hope you are ready. Other participants, you have any doubt? This will take little time actually. Okay, so to create clusters, because I have to configure 320 GB of data. I have to configure 320 GB. Okay, in my AWS console. So that obviously will take time. Okay, it's still under creation process. See, 40%. Utilization is, it's showing CPU utilization is 40%. Okay, so that means let me click on this demo Redshift cluster. Okay, so under this still paper, yeah, it's still processing. Hold on, no data available. Hold on. Okay, so modifying, it is under modifying state. Okay, so I think till then we will see the other service, Glue. Okay, there is another service called Glue. We have seen in Lambda functions. Suppose if I want to access any data from DynamoDB or S3, okay, we used to access that data using Lambda function, right? Participants. Okay, we used to access from Lambda function. In the same way, if I want to access any data from say EC2 or S3 in Redshift, there is another service called here Glue. Amazon, just type Glue, GL. Can you see this? AWS Glue. Okay, so let me open in new tab. Let me open in a new tab. Hold on. Okay, so here type Glue, AWS Glue, or else directly you can type Glue. Hold on. Yeah, AWS Glue you type. So this is an kind of an API, okay, or ETL tool. It's showing directly ETL tool. Okay, so extract, transfer, and load data from one service to other. Let us say S3 to Redshift within the cloud. So we can make use of Glue. Click on Glue. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the console. Let me check first Redshift is created or not. Yeah, now the cluster is available. Can you see participants? Once again. Yeah, so now I hope the cluster is cluster is available now. Cluster is available. Let me check all the status of my cluster. Hold on a second, it's taking time here. This is because of my internet connection, I guess. Okay, so this is the complete status of my cluster. Right now, I don't have any data. That's the reason. Okay, so I'm not getting any graphs here. Okay, CPU utilization. Yeah, so you can see here regarding about CPU utilization. Okay, so 92.88% is remaining. Next 3.7%. It is under computing. Compute 1 and computer 2. Compute 0 for master. Compute 2 for 2.90% is for my slave node. Okay. Next is query monitoring. We can check query monitoring. This is the performance. Query monitoring also get maintenance and monitoring also get backup data also we can check this backup data. But to perform all those things, we need the data here. Now next comes is query cluster. Okay, after creating the cluster, next comes the query cluster. Okay, so let me check the action here. Okay, so we can resize, reboot. Okay, so all this operation, I manage IAM roles also we can done this. We can perform all this. Okay, now let's go to query cluster. So after creating the cluster, we need to create the database. Okay, so here connected to the database. Okay, connected to the database. So here, since I don't have any database here, so I'll try to create my new database connection. Create a new database connection and select a recent connection. So I don't have any database here. I will create one test database. Test database. Okay, test database. Next is test database. One second. Sorry, so I should create a new database. That option should be given there. So demonstrated shift cluster. Okay, demo shift redshift cluster, the name of the cluster what we have created. So test demo, here you give the database name, test demo database. Database user, let's say the database user name be must use a master username for your database instance. What name I had given there? Admin, no? Participants.
Yes, sir.
Admin, right? Correct, no? What was the password? Capital letter A D M I N 1 2 3 4 5. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Cross verify. Admin 1 2 3 4 5. Right now? Participants.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll try. Connect to database. Now connected to database. No invalid database test demo